is, here's what's going to happen. The people that come in late, we're all going to point at them and laugh at them. Or boo them. What do you think, boo or laugh? Whatever. Whatever. Okay, so today we're going to talk about incorporating customer service into your social media strategy. I think we should close these doors so that the ambient noise doesn't bother us. That's my thought. I want everybody to be able to fully focus. That's nice. You ready for this? All right, so let's begin. My company is True Voice Media. We pretty much work in 3 different distinct areas: consulting, workshops, and resources. So we're either going to work directly with you and show you how to do stuff, we're going to put on presentations like this and kind of walk you through it and let you and your team do things, or we put together resources that you can either purchase or that are free. So be sure to check out our website. There's tons of free stuff on there, all sorts of cool stuff that we've put together. We're aggregated. It's very cool. That is me, Jeff Gibbard. These are the different ways that you can reach me. Please, Twitters. Love the Twitters, so best way to get a hold of me. I am an adjunct professor at Drexel University. I teach a social media strategies course. I am a speaker, a podcaster, a blogger. I do this for a living, and it's great because I get to come to places like sunny Dallas. If you'd like to tweet during this presentation, I thoroughly encourage you to. I love tweets. Tweets are great. SMS Summit. I believe that's what it is. That's what it kind of always is. Here are my rules for my session, and I'm very, very serious about this. So 1, interrupt me. That's totally fine. If you have a question, if you think something I said is nonsense, if you have an anecdote you'd like to tell, as long as it's a brief and on-point anecdote, I want to hear about picnics that you went to that are irrelevant. Please don't fall asleep. Funniest thing ever, I've had this up on my slides for a very long time, and I've done many presentations, and as you can see, my style is extremely boring and often puts people to sleep. But I did actually do a presentation for the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and it was in the evening, and this gentleman came. There were like 40, 50 people in the room, and this one guy just started dozing off at this one point, and I just stopped, and I was like, hey, you! It was in the rules, buddy. So tweet everything I say, and please tweet about how handsome I am. Gentlemen, it might be weird if you do it, but if you want to, I'm not going to stop you. Stay off of Facebook. That's very important. Twitter is fine, doesn't really take you out of it, you can kind of jump in, jump out. Facebook will suck your attention away, I'm certain of this. This is what I do for a living. Same thing with email, and please call your mother because she worries. I always put that in there because, moms. So, the agenda for today is I'm going to talk, and you're going to interrupt me if you choose to, and that'll be approximately, I'd say 45 minutes or so, maybe a little bit less. From there, I'm going to give you a tiny little break where you can kind of stretch, eat some of these Red Hots, and then we will go into our workshop. And the workshop is going to be, you can probably group up in a group this small and kind of work together and help each other, or you can do it independently. It's completely up to you. There are some worksheets here which I will give to you when the time is appropriate. If you're a note taker, I encourage you to take notes. If not, please don't worry. Everything that we talk about will be up on this page. TrueVoiceMedia.com/notes. I'm going to make these slides available to you. Any resources that we talk about, I'm going to make a mental note and put them on there with a link to whether it's software, whether it's links and different resources that we talk about. I'm going to make them all available to you so you can stay completely engaged with me, or you can take notes and not be as engaged. It's up to you. So, let us begin. The first thing I want to talk about is the B2B and B2C issue. Okay, in here, B2B or B2C, first raise your hands for B2B. You guys are both B2C, you're B2B.
I'm both.
Both. Okay, cool. Kind of boys versus girls. We'll have a kickball game after this. Because oftentimes what you hear, at least what I've heard in my experience when I talk with people that work in a B2B capacity, is they often say, this doesn't apply to my business. They're often in the mindset of, if I don't have customers that are customers, not business customers, this doesn't apply to my business. So I want to clear up that issue immediately and make sure that we're all on the same page. Because whether you're in a B2B environment or whether you're in a B2C environment, the same exact things apply. Okay, you have people that are using the internet to find information. It doesn't matter if you are selling multi-million-dollar servers or whether you are selling a free cell phone with various confusing degrees of plans at Sprint. Does not matter. It is the same exact situation. They're going to rely on their friends and their family and their peers for advice because they are human beings. They are not businesses. They are human beings that work at businesses. Same exact thing. They're going to have questions and they're going to have needs. They're going to have questions that they want answered and they have problems that they want fixed. This is universal whether it is B2B or whether it is B2C. So that leads me to the statement that customer service indeed applies to all businesses. And I even think it applies to the church, non-profit church lady. I think even though she's got God as her backup, I think it still applies. Hi.
Hello.
Are you coming in?
Oh, no.
Are you sure?
Rumor.
No, it's really good.
100.
Okay. I'll miss you. I don't even know her. Whatever. So let's talk a little bit about social customer service, okay? Because social customer service, I think, it's been boiled down a little too much. And I think that we need to expand the conversation a bit. But what I think about is that it is simply getting the customer what they need, and it's empowering that ability using social tools. And that can mean a large number of things, and we'll go over those in a little bit. But first, I want to point out some of the key features of what social customer service looks like and what customer service in general looks like, is that it's the ability to be helpful as a core ideal. That your focus, number one, and really I think we're going to cover this later as well, but customer service is a lot less about what you do than why you do it. It's a mindset. So it's about organizing your company to be helpful, and it's about organizing your company to focus on the idea of building relationships with your customers. And I don't mean that in that like wishy-washy kind of social media guru type build relationships kind of way. I mean like legitimately in the same way that right now we have formulated some sort of a little relationship. Now we're not going to probably be best friends after this. We may do business together, we may not, but we have something right now. And that's a matter of the fact that we've engaged with one another, we've connected with one another, we've had conversations back and forth and treated each other like humans. And that's what I mean by building a relationship. I don't mean it in that kind of engagement kind of way. And customer service isn't just about tweeting, okay? It's not just about saying, you know, we now have 3 people on Twitter that are going to answer any mean things that comes in, or we're going to monitor our Facebook page and either delete the mean comments or respond to them. That is not social customer service. That is using one tool to accomplish one thing, and most of the time very, very poorly, if you've seen any of the fail examples, which I should really start putting into this presentation. Social customer service is actually a wide variety of different activities that you can do. So, obviously there's things like Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus and LinkedIn and email. These are all ways that you can connect and communicate with your customer. And you can provide them with service and support and things like that. But there's more. You can create support forums. That is actually a social customer service tool. Things like creating a series of frequently asked questions and putting them into a forum and letting people answer each other's questions. If, for instance, you own any Apple products, you'll probably notice that when you're looking for the answer to a problem and you Google it, it's going to bring you to the Apple support discussions. And you know who's answering those questions? Other Apple users. That is actually social, if you think about it. And social doesn't necessarily mean that you're using Twitter and Facebook. It means that it's another person helping another person. So a support forum can be a way that you, if you think about your business and think about problems that you might be having that you want to solve, a support forum can be a really great way to provide answers to that. YouTube videos. If you want to talk about the hottest thing right now in SEO, it's how-to searches. How do I blank? How do I this? How do I that? It's because of things like Google Now. It's because of things like Siri. Even though she gets 95% of queries wrong, sometimes she gets one of those right. And Cortana, the newest Windows iteration. But it's a lot of voice search, and it's people that are looking for how do I blank. I don't know how to do most things that involve using my hands, like handy things. Like IKEA furniture is about as far as I go. So I do a lot of these how do I blank queries, although I'm pretty savvy in the kitchen. So how-to videos can be a really great way to explain to your customers ways of solving very commonly asked problems. Manuals and technical descriptions. Sometimes people are just looking for the PDF. They just want to find out the step-by-step instruction. So we've put together on our website, and we continue to put together a lot of resources in the form of PDFs and white papers and walkthroughs for this very reason. And these are things that can be shared with other people. It's things that we put onto SlideShare so that it can be shared again. But ultimately, each of these types of content, each of these media, whether they be videos or whether they be documents, whether they be ebooks, PDFs, white papers, It can be an audio walkthrough. It can be any of these things. These are all media that can be put onto media sharing sites. And really, when we think about it, isn't the entire internet social now? I mean, is there a site that you go to where you think, I can't share this? They don't have any share buttons. Like, come on, we're past that. So the entire internet has become social, and that leads us to the fact that there is a customer service imperative. I don't think this is optional anymore. And I don't really care what business you're in. I really don't think customer service is optional anymore. In fact, Gary Vee, back in, I think it was 2008 at South by Southwest, made the very statement that customer service is the new frontier. He didn't say it in those words. But essentially that every business now needs to be entirely focused on the customer. And the reason why is that the customer is out there and they have changed. They have changed and they have the ability now to talk back. The gatekeeper was removed. They no longer needed somebody to be their champion and to be their voice. They can simply go tweet now. Internet and social media adoption has changed absolutely everything, and that is there is no debating that. 72% of online adults are social networking users in some form or another. And that's going to be broken down by age very differently. So depending upon who your customer is, it's more or less of an urgent imperative. So for instance, if you're dealing with 18 to 29-year-olds, the imperative is so incredibly strong that it is like hitting you with a hammer. You cannot avoid these 18 to 29-year-olds. Within 15 minutes of waking up, 80% of them have already touched their phone, often before they get out of bed. That is a stat that is real. If you think about yourself, how many of you looked at your phone before you got out of bed? No? It's about representative right there. 4 out of 5. Sorry. Bam! Look, I love when that happens. That just happened. Yeah, I actually generally spend between, and this is a little embarrassing for me, between 10 and 30 minutes before I get out of bed, just on my phone. I check Twitter, I check Facebook, I check Google+, I check LinkedIn, I check Instagram, I check all of them, and then when I'm done, usually I go right back to the beginning and I do it again because I'm like, maybe something happened in that 10 minutes. That happens. So because of that, we're looking at something that is unprecedented. If we think about the iPhone having come out in 2007, and that is the point at which most of these things change, because prior to that we didn't have that. We didn't wake up and check our phones. We woke up and we walked our dog and had breakfast and went to work and looked at our computer. So things have changed. And part of that is because mobile has changed everything. We are now a very, very mobile society. We are full of mobile internet-equipped people. And if you look at emerging companies, countries, and emerging markets, places like Africa, places like areas in the Asia-Pacific Rim, kind of up-and-coming Malaysia, Indonesia, they are primarily mobile. They don't even sit at desktops. They do everything from mobile. And that changes everything because mobile puts us at connection with people wherever we are. We don't have to wait. There's no gaps in between when we can connect with one another. We have this connection at any given point. I can stop this presentation right now, and I can reach out to people that I know in Amsterdam, in Chicago, in California, in an instant. And I have the ability to hit them in real time. Beyond connection in real time at our fingertips, we have information at our fingertips in an unbelievable way. We can now access, there's Daniel Pink, who wrote the book To Sell is Human, among other different books, talks about the idea of information asymmetry, where essentially in the past, prior to having these rectangle internet-enabled devices that connect us to all the world's information, the salesperson had more information than the buyer. But now we can walk into any situation, any store, Best Buy, we can walk into a car dealership, anywhere, and we can say, I know what all of your competitors are charging. Okay, I know the closest place where I can get a better deal. You can walk in with more information than they actually have. And that's remarkable. It changes everything because it's put the power back in our hands. And now that it's part of our everyday life, okay, now that we are, how many times do you think you pull your phone out of your pocket? I know I've tried to count for myself because I have a really strong iPhone addiction. But I think I probably pull my phone out of my pocket somewhere upwards of 150 times a day. If I had to guess, which is really just like a shocking amount. It is so ingrained in us that we are no longer users of our phones. We are armed with our phones. We have it, and we are not afraid to use it. It sits there and it's changed the way that we behave. Our behaviors have changed as a result of this. We wake up differently now. We behave differently in social situations, and I'd like to do a fun experiment with you. You're all my guinea pigs now. This is going to be fun. Don't be scared, it's fine. I want to know what you would do in these following situations. And to be clear, I want you to be really, really honest with yourself. I don't want you to lie to yourself and talk about the person you'd like to think you would be. I want to talk about what you really would do. The first one. Airline cancels your flight while you're on the runway. It's the first thing that you do.
Go to the internet, try to find a new flight.
Go to the internet, try and find a flight.
I would call my husband and tell him to find a new flight.
Probably what she did, call her life.
I get on Twitter and complain.
I would blast that airline on Twitter. I'd be like, I would like lose my mind. And I'm the worst customer, to be honest. And I know this. I am the brattiest, I used to have a process with my ex-wife when we would call customer service that I would be the first leg of it. I would deal with the first 10 minutes, and then I would hand the phone off. Because by the time I would get to a supervisor, I was like ready to rip their hair out. I was the worst. But I would get on to Twitter, and I would just freak out if this happened, okay? You go to a restaurant, you order delivery, and there's a bug in your salad. It's the first thing you do. Probably call the restaurant. Well, what next?
That'd be all over Facebook, Twitter. Instagram.
All over Facebook, Twitter. Would you take a picture and put it on Instagram?
I would probably do that.
Yeah. Would you call them out? Would you call out the delivery, whoever you ordered it from? Or would you just be nice about it and be like, oh, I just ordered delivery and there's a bug in my salad. And then somebody would be like, well, where's it from? You'd be like, oh, okay, it's from this place. Right? But it's out there now. Okay, you buy a product on Amazon. It arrives. It's entirely different from the picture. What do you do?
Call.
Call them. Call them or tweet. Call them or tweet. So you reach out to the vendor, and they send you back some snide reply, like kind of a buyer beware sort of thing. What do? Do you put them on blast? Do you go online and let them know? Let everybody know about them?
If they don't fix it, I go online.
Yeah.
I give them the benefit first.
Yeah, we're all nice people, right? You give a little bit of that, fix the problem. But if they don't, you're ready, right? You waste the entire day waiting for the... So I'm from Philly. I am from Philly. And there's a tiny little company in Philly called Comcast. And apparently they provide cable and internet services.
Good try.
They attempt with their billions of dollars. But this is not like an infrequent occurrence in Philadelphia. They've now taken to the fact that they'll give you a $20 credit if they're not within the window. Thanks, $20. That's what my time is worth. Those 3 hours, thanks. What do? You waited around all day. You've been sitting at home. You called. You told your boss, I'm sorry, I can't be here. I'm getting internet hooked up in my house. I really have to be home for this 3-hour window, and they don't show up. What do?
I've already done it. I've blasted the crap out of them all over everything.
Yeah. You freak out. You go online and you just freak out and let everybody know. You go to a movie and it really sucks. You were really excited for it too. And before you got to the movie, you were like, oh, I am dying to go and see blank, fill in the blank. It's not a Marvel movie because they're always good. But every single one of them. But you go to a movie you're really excited to see. Beforehand, you're checking into the theater, you're posting on Facebook about it, and you walk out, and it was abysmal. It was a mockery. It was a waste of your time and money. You go on Facebook, you blast them again. You go on Twitter, you blast them again. So obviously the point is this, is that we now have this, and if we feel we are treated unfairly, we feel that we are not given what we are due, what we were paid for, we will retaliate with our voice. We all do that now. And we all do that because we've been given this power by these beautiful glass-covered, internet-enabled rectangles that we carry with us everywhere. They give us a voice that we didn't have. And that's beautiful. As a customer, you have to admit that's absolutely freaking beautiful. But as a company, you have to admit that that is absolutely freaking terrifying. Because the accountability is at an all-time high.
Think about the electric companies, also, that's another example of ones that are kind of taking a task when something goes wrong.
Yeah, but the funny thing about utilities is, and my company specializes with highly regulated industries. And what we found when working with utilities is, they're generally very hesitant to even get involved in the conversation. They don't even want to acknowledge that there are bad things. It's as if they think, if we don't listen for it, it's not happening. It's ostrich syndrome at its finest. They stick their head in the sand and they think, well, people may be talking, but if we don't respond, at least we're not acknowledging there's something wrong. Definitely not the best approach. So we're armed with these devices and we're able to talk back, and even if we're sitting at our computers, we're able to talk back. So the question is there anything that could be done in these circumstances to make it right? Obviously, the answer is yes. The airline can help you book a new flight. You jump on Twitter and you're like, oh my God, they just canceled my flight from Dallas to Philly. What am I going to do? And JetBlue jumps in and says, listen, we got a plane that's leaving in the next hour. We'll book you on that flight. You're already in the same terminal. We'll make sure that they hold the flight for you. Oh my God. Wow. Hello.
There's a loud door. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's quite all right. I was actually hoping you would jump in with a bugle. I like to know when people arrive. We had made an agreement that we were either going to boo or laugh at anybody that came late, but you seem like a nice gentleman and you did already make a loud door noise, so I guess
and break the door.
Yeah, it's okay though. By the way, everything that was important was already covered, so
Thank goodness.
feel free to take a nap, call your mother, she worries. So back where we were is that the airline can help you book a new flight in that, right? The restaurant can immediately credit you for that for your next time that you do delivery, and they could send you a new salad. And if all of this is happening publicly on Twitter where you blasted them, or on Yelp where you left the review, it's showing other people that the company cares and that they're going to make that mistake right. And that, I think, changes customer perception. The product manufacturer could send you a replacement, no questions asked. The cable company could give you a free month of cable. That one is really just for my own benefit of hilarity, because there's no way that they're giving you a free month of cable. In fact, you're probably going to get a bill for the service call that they missed, because I'm still fighting them on it. Bastards. The theater could give you free passes, right? They could be like, I'm sorry you didn't like the movie, why don't you come back? They're still going to make a ton of money on the concessions, what do they care, right? And all of that, the question is, how would that change your reaction? Because I know how it changes mine. And I can be pretty sure how it changes yours. I've actually done some research into this, and here's what I've found out. People are twice as likely to talk about bad customer services as they are good. So if you have something bad happen to you, you're very, very likely to go online and start saying, wow, I'm mad. But if something good happens, you're far less likely to go on and say, wow, that was fantastic. Unless, of course, they give you a Batman wake-up call, in which case I am letting everybody know about that. That was awesome. But beyond that, there's the issue of what happens when you turn around something bad. Now, these are stats about what happens in the event of something negative or positive. 22% of people said that they would be likely to post a positive comment in the event that something good happens, but 51% of people said that they are more likely to post it after they get a response. So if they have a problem and somebody responds back, they are 51% responding that they would go and post something positive. And it's because people have expectations, and if those expectations are met, they're very, very likely to work with you. Because I think at our core, most people are good people if they're just treated properly by companies. 74% of people said that they would take to social media to criticize a brand, and they believe that this actually leads to better customer service. So think back to when we did that experiment just before. You're tweeting. Why are you tweeting? Right? You're sitting on the tarmac, flight gets canceled, cable guy doesn't come. Why are you tweeting? Are you doing it just to tell other people? That's one thing you want to let other people know to be aware. But you also probably somewhere inside, if you think about it, you believe that by putting it out there, there's a chance they might come and fix it, right? I wrote an entire blog post about US Airways giving me a jacked up experience, and it wasn't until the blog post had like 300 shares that they even reached out to me. But they weren't even listening at that point. It wasn't until we got enough people to talk about that they even looked for it. And I was just mad. But I did want them to fix it. And I think that that goes in line with the fact that 74% of people have said that they would take to social media just to criticize a brand because they think it'll help. And 42% said that they expect a response within 60 minutes. So speed is actually very important too. Think about this. What if you posted a negative comment online and then 6 days later, you're on the tarmac, and then 6 days later Southwest is like, hey, did you get that flight resolved? Yeah, 6 days ago. I was on the tarmac, buddy. So speed is important. You have to think about, in terms of your product and your service, how fast do you have to be? Is it something where you need instantaneous response, or do you have a 24-hour window? But the truth of the matter is most people are going to expect when they post online that they're going to get a response.
Does that change based on what time they post?
Probably. I would imagine that if you post at 2 a.m., they'll probably allow it till the next morning, because I think business hours are kind of expected. However, there is a caveat to that. Let's say that you run a sleep clinic and you deal with insomniacs. If you're posting at 3 a.m. and nobody's getting back to you, that means you are missing your entire target demographic. You know what I mean? If you're talking about early morning, like super early morning yoga classes, like 4 a.m. sunrise yoga classes, and you're posting at that point and nobody's there to listen, you're missing the window. So I think it's dependent upon what your business hours are and what your business is, but people generally expect a very fast response. But within 24 hours, I can't remember what it is on here, but 25% say more than 1 hour but later the same day. But within that, it's less than a day for almost everybody, I think. Like when you look at it, everybody wants same day response. Nobody wants to wait around for a couple days. I always find it weird when I get a tweet like a couple days later from like a restaurant that I checked into or something, and 2 days later they're like, hey, thanks for coming in. I was like, that was like 2 days ago. I don't even know what we're talking about now. I don't even remember what I had. So in another poll, 78% of customers said that they have abandoned a transaction due to bad customer service. Customer service is important, obviously. Keeps turning over. There we go. 89% of customers have reportedly stopped doing business with companies because of bad customer service. Does anybody have, I would leave Comcast in a heartbeat. There's just no other option. But I would leave them in a heartbeat. And any time that I am faced with a situation where I get terrible customer service and I have an alternative, I will undoubtedly leave. Undoubtedly. Same for all of you? Probably true. So what makes them stay? They can easily find the info that they need. So if I can give myself service in your resources, I'll likely stay. And if I have friendly customer service, anytime that I have had an amazing customer service experience where I just felt like they just got me and they took care of me, and you all have an experience like this somewhere in your head, and actually right before we go into the workshop and break time, I'm going to put up an awesome example of customer service that I'm just going to leave up there for you to come up and look at during the break. It is stellar. But we stay for good customer service because it makes us feel human. It makes us feel like people are listening and they get us and the company actually cares. Other things that make people stay, personalized experience, good reputation, and I have citations at the end of this slide deck, which again you'll get online, that has all of the links to all of these studies if you feel like it helps you make your case internally. So these are the things that are going to help people stay. So to recap, I'm going to recap everything about the customer, right? The customer will go online. No question. We are all online. And if you're not, don't worry about those people. They don't even have a voice. Just kidding. Is more likely to complain than promote. Twice as likely, in fact. Expects a fast response, generally within 24 hours. Will leave, possibly forever, over bad customer service. Will stay if you're friendly, provide help, personalized experience, and have a good reputation. So here's what you'll probably need to do. You'll probably need to be online. I'm sure you all are. But think about how you're online. Are you listening and addressing complaints? Are you providing fast responses? Are you giving great customer service? Do you even know how to audit whether or not you're giving great customer service? And you need to be friendly, provide help, personalized experience, and make sure that you're managing your reputation. All of these are key elements to understanding how to provide customer service on the web and how to make sure that your customers don't leave, to make sure that the customers you have stay, and to make sure that you're providing the best possible service for them so that they tell others. It's part of your marketing. But wait, there's more. You're probably asking, great, okay, we've been talking about the customer this whole time, and that's great. But I'm a business, man. What's in it for me? Well, social customer service, if you were to use it properly, can do a number of things for you. For one, it can reduce your customer service costs. Do you know how much it costs to have people sitting on a phone line waiting to take calls versus answering things via Twitter? How about every stupid call that comes in, that the same frequently asked question that you could simply put online in a tutorial video or answer the question online for people, you could reduce the number of calls that come in by a dramatic amount. Just give it to them, right? You can increase your customer loyalty. As we've shown, people will come back for good customer service. So it is actually part of your customer loyalty program to provide excellent customer service. You're going to open up new sales opportunities. When people are happy, when they want to come back, and if you have cross-selling opportunities, which is, I believe, so cross-selling opportunities, let's say you have multiple products and services. When you're providing great customer service and people are starting to trust you as a result of that relationship you're building with them, you open up the avenue to talk to them about new things. On the few occasions where I have had great customer service with Comcast, the person that I spoke to that was fantastic and really nice and all of that was actually able to help me get what it is that I wanted, which was actually an upsell. Because I was able to have a conversation with this person and get what I needed. And then the final thing is that it's going to allow you to improve your products and services. So think of this for an example. What if you, as an airline, know that every Thursday you have customer service complaints at the desk? That's an outlier. That's a data outlier that you need to look at and say, what's happening on Thursday that we're getting more customer service complaints? Is it a certain person that's on? Is it the volume of people that are coming through on a Thursday? What do we need to do? What if you have a product that everyone's complaining the exact same thing is breaking on? Well, now you need to improve that, and you'll have less people complaining about that. So you can, if you understand what the problem is, if you listen to what people are saying, you're then able to actually improve your products and services. That'll in turn then reduce your customer service costs. It'll increase loyalty. It'll increase sales. All of these things will come back to you. So here's the art of doing it right in customer service online. These are the elements. I'm going to give you the cheat sheet. I've studied this long and hard, very many hours. There are 6 aspects of excellent customer service. And if you can master all 6 of these, you will attain levels of Zappos. The first is going to be speed. You need to be built for speed. You need to be ready for speed. You need to be able to respond and have your team equipped and enabled to get back to the customer fast. Next one is personality. This is one of the hardest pieces for companies, because companies have been so accustomed for so long to saying things like, we regret your inconvenience and we'd like to get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Knock that off. Put some personality into it. Let them know that you're a human being back there. Show them that you're a human. Ownership. Ownership means don't push the burden off. When something goes wrong, own it. I'm sorry that that happened. Me, Jeff Gibbard, the person that's talking to you, am sorry that that happened. And I am going to fix this. And if you think about yourself as a customer, if you put yourself in the customer's shoes for a minute, and somebody says to you that they are personally taking responsibility for whatever that problem is, you feel different. You feel taken care of. Because think about the times before you call customer service or before you make a customer, you don't want to do it. You want to do the other stuff in your life. And when somebody else on the other side takes ownership for that problem for you, it relieves a great burden. I've had to call PNC 3 times over the same problem, and I know that I'm going to sit on hold for 10 minutes. I know that I'm going to get transferred twice. And I know that I may still have to call them after that, and that's awful. And the last time I called them, the guy said, I've got this. Me. And he took care of it. Listening. Don't just jump in and start telling them what you're going to do. Listen to what the problem is first, and that includes social listening and listening to what people are saying online, understanding the problem, and proactively finding those complaints and reaching out and fixing them. Not just waiting for them to come to you, but listening to the web and hearing what people are saying and then fixing it proactively. And then specificity. Specificity means not being general about everything. Tell them exactly how you're going to solve the problem. Tell them exactly what the problem is. Tell them exactly where they can get the resources. Don't say, visit our customer support forum. Say, I'm going to send you a link to the exact thread that is relevant to what your problem is. Specificity. Cut down the work for the customer. Final one is personalization. Every little bit of customer service you do, as much as you can, if you've got a CRM, make sure you know who those people are. Know what the last time they called in was and what their problem was and how you solved it. If they have the same problem, let them know you're going to take care of that same problem and that you're sorry that it didn't work out last time, but that you've got it. And if you combine all 6 of these, you have mastered the art of doing it right. If you are fast, if you have personality and you take personal ownership for it, you listen to what's happening, you provide a specific response, and you personalize it to the person you're talking to, you're going to kill it in social media. You're going to kill it in customer service, and your company is definitely going to kill it. Customer service, though, isn't just about one element, and to have an organization that is built for customer service, I believe you need 3 separate components that overlap, and if you get all of them right, you can have dynamite customer service. And these are the same 3 elements of what makes a social business. This is the same 3 elements of what creates a smooth-running social media marketing department. You need to have all 3. If you just have process and technology, it's good in theory, but you don't have the culture buy-in. If you just have culture and process, it's going to be slow and buggy because you don't have the right technology. And if you have culture and technology, you're going to have things fall through the crack because you don't have the process to make sure things are in line. So as a social customer service organization, you need all three. You need a culture that buys into it, understands the six aspects of getting it right, that has the buy-in from the management all the way down. You need to have the culture there to support it. You need to have technology because it's going to allow you to move fast, because there's going to be too much data for you to capture on your own. This is not a legal pad situation. You are going to need a real piece of technology to provide customer service. And finally, you need the process. What they found in hospitals is that when they provided checklists, infections went down. It's one of the things that they did. The idea is that if you provide a process, you give people step-by-step instructions, less things are going to fall through the cracks. You need all three of these. So that is essentially the overarching idea of social customer service. There are 6 aspects to get it right. You need culture, technology, and process. And we all understand as customers what we want. So let's do that as businesses. So now I'm going to give you a little break. It's about 40 minutes worth of content or so. And I'm going to give you a 10-minute break to just stretch. We can talk, we can do things, whatever. But I'm going to put up here probably the coolest customer service example I have ever found in my life. Ever. It's from Zappos. So during the break, come up here and take a look at it. And then after the break, after about 10 minutes, we're going to come back here and we're going to do an actual workshop where you sit down and you're going to assess your own company's social customer service readiness, and you're going to answer some questions. And if you get through the 21 questions that I provide for you, the 21 aspects of social customer service readiness, if you can get through that, I'll give you a template to start thinking about what keywords and phrases you're going to want to monitor and how to bucket those so that you're looking for the right things. Cool? Break time.